The entrepreneurial side were coders, programmers, that grew up outside the system.
Just like an algorithm, an AI algorithm, it has learned from all the past.
I was talking to you before about like being a futurist and that sort of thing. It's this type of thing that I believe we can use to actually help transition and evolve humanity in cool ways. It's this idea of big data. Often stays in the realm of business. Welcome to the game of frequencies.
The Humanitarian Innovation Hub of Canada, and at this point, the world. A catalyst division, as well as the empowerment of the people throughout the earth.
So you're saying as you dig deeper, find computer code writ in the fabric of the cosmos.
In general, we look for new law by the following process. First, we guess it. Then we So don't laugh, that's really true.
I suppose you could consider me as a symbolic linguist. There's a certain language.
The earth is ravaged and the animals are dying. A new tribe of people shall come into the earth from many colors, breeding classes, and who by their actions and deeds shall make the earth green again. They shall be known as the warriors of the rainbow, from Hopi prophecy.
Hi Tides Canada, we're Divergent Unity. I'm Peter.
I'm Ken.
And we are here in response to some correspondence between Danielle and Ken regarding the director position through the Gord Downie fund.
And Chanie Wenjack fund,
yeah. Mm-hmm. So first and foremost, I just want to start off with a bit of a story of how things transpired. So I received this came across my desk, this application or this call
to action,
the posting for it. And so I looked at it and I thought this was a really interesting role. We look for this sort of thing all the time in our work when we're trying to find a call to action for a larger kind of global issue. So that we can see if there's places for us to
execute our divergent thinking or help. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what happened was I gave this to a handful of people in my community, people who I know who are embedded in the Indigenous community, who are stakeholders in policymakers in Canadian Indigenous, and what I got back was a resounding, not again. I got things like, oh, here we go again, throwing good money after bad. Oh, here we go with more bureaucracy. Oh, here we go with more white people trying to solve the problems of the Indigenous, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, even though it specifically starts to say, let's have an action plan and reconciliation, trying to bridge this gap, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it's still designed, the paper itself and the format and the layout and the impetus is still designed using a very traditional format, and this is what I got back. I got these people, these very good people who are, as I said, embedded in this whole thing, and they're just like, oh no, not again. No. So then we took this up a notch. We decided, okay, well, maybe we can approach Tides and show them how we can do this in a different way, with a different approach, using what we call systems level thinking, and hopefully convince you that there's a better way to do this that is definitely more impactful, certainly more valuable and meaningful, and meets the needs, the very, very real critical needs of the now.
Right.
in all sorts of different ways. So,
And our background comes from just even myself at 35 plus years of entrepreneurial venture and gamifying, game making, programming at systems level from the micro to the macro. And my bread and butter is taking apart systems and looking for the problems and where things are going wrong. And so when I saw the program director, as he said, with my initial email that came through, initially sent to, I think his name was Brock, but I didn't hear anything back. So which is why I sent an email to also Tides, because if anything, I'm hoping we can either impart information onto you that hasn't been heard, or even better yet, a relationship of some kind, whether it's through the program director or otherwise, happens here. Because we are in a moment where something special can happen on a humanitarian global level. And where this comes to is a couple of key things that come out of the document and that have been asked for is a way to bridge. So if we simplify this at a systems level, we need to bridge the spiritual with the non-spiritual. So if we just bring it up to a systems level and not name anything, we have these two circles that need to have a bridge formed between them.
and why? Why do they need that bridge? Well, because we have our eye in a much larger prize. And we aren't alone in this. We call it the global problem set. And truly, we're looking at future events speeding up
That's right.
very quickly. So
And anyone, as again, we're a big data humanitarian think tank, so all the data is there now. If you know how to analyze it, if you know how to bring it together and then piece it apart, you will see this global problem set happening fast.
And one large example is what we call futurism. So this includes post-automation, it includes artificial intelligence,
Deep learning, neural networks,
Quantum.
artificial intelligence, quantum understanding, transhumanism.
So, you know, we, on the very kind of low level, we see people with their cell phones, and there's all these different research studies coming back showing what the effects of smartphone generation, iGen and all this.
I can call it iGen, yeah.
So that's just, you know, one of these problem sets, and we put this kind of strictly over here. As we're all aware, our world, generally speaking, operates pretty much like this.
Right. And if you follow a path throughout history, going from the spirituality of where things were within the indigenous community, this is the end game where we are now in the non-spiritual. And what this has led to systematically, which isn't a a hidden truth anymore, is the eugenics, a systematic eugenics of the indigenous people, and how the system wants to wipe them out, or was on that path.
And aside from the obvious that wiping out an entire people is not cool, what we're trying to explain on many different levels is that in order for us to solve this global problem set, we need this.
It's a must.
It is about us as a human race understanding that natural law is a thing.
Yeah.
It is actually part of what balances us.
And that's the key. If you can Google these two words, this being the laws of nature versus the law of man. Right?
So what we need to do is through, we can get into the details of how to do it, but the idea is we need to ask the indigenous populations of the world, of course, starting with Canada in this case,
Canada taking the forefront in this, the leadership.
to help guide us, because these are the stewards of the earth. These people have been holding on to the key to our success for thousands of years. And what's happening, of course, like we said, of course, it's about to be entirely wiped out.
Yeah.
And we not only, of course, obviously need to stop that, what we're also suggesting is we're not going to make it very far with this global problem set if we don't have a balanced
Right.
human state.
Right.
And we call this a human evolution or we have a framework for it, which we can get into another time,
Called HEVO 2.0.
where we're actually, and you can see the correlation between this and the director, the program director, where we're trying to this reconciliation. We look at it as more of a bridging, but it's essentially, I think what we're talking about is the same thing. And for us, there are many reasons for it, but the most critical one is so that we can evolve as a human species, so that we can have these people teach these people help and bring together.
Come together in an old system, working together within this union pocket into a new system. It has to be at a systems level now. We have, for centuries upon centuries, have gone down this road of trying to go in and impress our ways, not just to the indigenous people, but all cultures around the world, civilizations around. It doesn't work.
So what we are proposing is
an abstract framework, right, which pulls up from all this and empowers all the individuals uniquely within this unified problem space to work now together on these global problem sets, which eventually will evolve humanity at a catalytic rate.
We've got empowerment programs, we've got futurist programs, we've got actualization programs, et cetera, that all kind of fit under this. Now, this brings us, I guess, to the final piece, which is the idea of, you've, again, back to the document, the program director, we would really like to, I guess, talk to you about this idea of this very traditional old school way of approaching this single person in this social entrepreneur field, the Lone Ranger approach to, coming in and managing the funds and the programs and, doing this all kind of yourself. It is just not effective anymore. It's just the way things are. And so if we can look at this more of a collective entrepreneurship, where we, and in this case, we have a framework, we have programs set up, we have a think tank and a humanitarian hub where we can start to generate projects after projects, but it's based on, again, this one as an example, this principle of
the macro to the micro and bridging the two worlds and the spectrum in between, actualizing all these into an understanding that we can work at speeds that are much faster than any group around the globe is working at it now. All these groups around the globe are trying and asking for someone, anyone, to step up and do something never tried before. This is it.
So what we're saying is we have the answer to this in terms of this reconciliation. It takes the form of a variety of programming. But what we're also saying is you're not looking for one person. What we're suggesting is you're looking for a team. You're looking for a collective entrepreneurship, planning, design, implementation team. And
as we looked into, so moving away from the program director, as we looked into Tides Canada, this is where we, and we've seen a few other companies, we'll give links in an email that we're posting this video or sending an email to you with links for you to look at as well. But other companies that we've contacted and talked with a bit to, Humanity United being one of them, they are also at a systems level just starting to understand the need for a systems level. But you're talking about these micro level organizations that for decades upon decades have been cemented in this rabbit hole or narrow-minded approach, which science is very good at, right? We've lost the indigenous way of systems level thinking, right? And so, but there are individuals that are out there, we're one of them. Our group is made up of them that deal at a systems level, not to mention we've been trained in systems level just from the sheer act of coding all our lives, right?
So I guess to kind of conclude, we're looking at a systems level approach to the problem set that you've provided, and what we're suggesting is that we can help bring some added value to this entire operation through more of a collective entrepreneurship.
An aggregation of organizations that will come together and address the world's problems.
Yeah, so thank you. We really hope that this resonates with you and that we'll hear from you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Okay.